beside you. You were sitting right beside me, but your heart was somewhere else. I could feel the distance growing even when you held my hand. You smiled through conversations like everything was fine, while secrets slowly built themselves behind your eyes. I kept blaming my overthinking for the things I couldn't explain, but intuition whispers softly before it turns to pain. You made me feel alone beside you, like love was leaving in slow motion, like I was talking to somebody already gone. And every time I reached for honesty, you gave me empty truths. You made me feel alone beside you, even before I knew. Now I replay the moments that suddenly make sense, all the little changes I defended in my head. I stayed loyal to a version of you that disappeared while you were building distance right in front of me here. I thought trust meant forever, but forever broke apart when you started giving pieces of your love to someone else's heart. You made me feel alone beside you while I was still trying to stay, fighting for a future you already gave away. And every promise that you made still echoes like a lie. You made me feel alone beside you, and I don't know why. Yeah. Maybe the cruelest heartbreak isn't watching someone leave, it's realizing they were gone while standing next to me. And I don't hate your memory as much as I hate the truth that I was still loving deeply while you stopped loving too. You made me feel alone beside you, but I won't stay there anymore. I won't beg for love that closes every door. And though the damage lingers, I'll survive what you put me through. You made me feel alone beside you. Now I'm choosing me over you. Alone beside you, that hurt the most. The room feels colder lately, even with the lights on. I still catch myself expecting you to call when nights get long. Everyone says time heals, but mine just circles back to every little memory I thought I could detach from. I kept pretending distance would help me let you go, but loneliness only made your absence louder than before. I didn't know how to stop loving you, even after all the pain, even when your silence was the only thing that stayed. And every lonely evening still somehow leads to you. I didn't know how to stop loving you, no matter what I do. walk through crowded places, still feeling left behind, like nobody can hear the noise inside my mind. You became part of my routine, a habit I can't break. And now every quiet moment feels harder to escape. I thought eventually your memory would fade, but some love keeps breathing even after it breaks. I didn't know how to stop loving you while losing parts of me, holding on to someone who no longer sees me. And every faded photograph still feels painfully true. I didn't know how to stop loving you like you stopped loving me too. Maybe the hardest endings are the ones without a sound, where one heart keeps searching after the other's gone. And I don't blame your leaving or the way things changed. I just wish my heart knew how to do the same. I didn't know how to stop loving you, but I'm learning slowly now how to live beside the emptiness without needing you around. And though a part of me will always miss the truth, I didn't know how to stop loving you until I lost you. Still loving you in the silence. I found your picture in a drawer, hidden underneath old things, and suddenly the room felt full of everything we'd been. Your smile still looks the same there, like time forgot to move. But memories don't stay frozen the way old photos do. I thought enough time passing wouldn't make it disappear, but some feelings stay alive when no one's here. I didn't know love could hurt this quietly, like a song playing low in the dark, like a memory touching places you thought had healed inside your heart. And every little reminder brings the feeling back to me. I didn't know love could hurt this quietly, so silently. I still remember little things, like how you said my name, and how forever sounded easy before everything changed. Now the past feels closer than the life I'm living now, like I'm still standing somewhere I don't know how to leave. Somehow I keep telling myself it's only memory, but memory still knows exactly where to reach. I didn't know love could hurt this quietly, without a single tear, just an emptiness returning every time you reappear. And every photograph reminds me this quietly inside of me. Maybe some people never leave the way we hope they will. Maybe your love lingers softly even when the world stands still. And I don't want to erase you or pretend we didn't exist. I just wish remembering you didn't feel like this. I didn't know love could hurt this quietly, but I'm learning how to live with all the little pieces that memory still gives. And though your shadow follows, it won't always stay with me. I didn't know love could hurt this quietly, but now I see. Quietly, still hurting me. You still smiled when you saw me, so I thought we were okay. I didn't notice distance hidden in the things you'd say. We still talked about tomorrow like nothing had changed, while your heart was slowly leaving and mine stayed the same. I was holding on to moments you already let go, standing in the middle of a love I didn't know. I didn't know you were already moving on, while I was still calling this love, still believing we could fix what we were becoming of. And every little memory feels heavier tonight. I didn't know you were already moving on, while I was still trying to fight. Your replies became shorter, but I called it just a phase. Never thought your silence was you drifting away. Now I replay conversations, searching for the signs, but heartbreak always looks clearer. In hindsight, I thought if I loved harder, you'd stay beside me still. But some hearts leave quietly before they leave for real. I didn't know you were already moving on, while I was planning forever, trying to save a feeling you stopped holding together. Now your name feels distant, like somebody I once knew. I didn't know you were already moving on before I lost you. Maybe I was the last one still believing in us, while you were learning slowly how to give me up. And I don't blame you leaving if your heart changed too soon. I just wish I knew before I broke for you. I didn't know you were already moving on, but I finally understand. Love can disappear quietly without leaving your hand. And though it still hurts deeply, I know it's true now. I didn't know you were already moving on, but I'm letting go somehow. Already moving on, I stay behind. kept talking like forever still belonged to us somehow. Even while the silence was getting louder now, I saw the distance growing in every little thing, but I kept holding tighter to what we used to be. I thought love could survive if I refused to let go, but some endings happen quietly, long before you know. I stayed even when it was over, when your heart was already gone, holding on to pieces of something moving on. And every time you looked at me, I searched for what remained. I stayed even when it was over, and loved you through the pain. We became strangers slowly, still sleeping side by side. Two people holding memories they could no longer find. I kept replaying old days like they could change the end, but nostalgia can't rebuild what time already bent. Maybe we were real love at the wrong place in time, because losing you still feels like losing part of my life. I stayed even when it was over, while you were learning how to leave, trying to save a future you no longer believe. And every little promise still echoes in my chest. I stayed even when it was over, and gave you my best. Maybe we would've lasted if life had been less hard, if timing didn't break us before we fell apart. And I don't regret loving you, even if we couldn't stay. Some people are forever, even when they fade away. I stayed even when it was over, but now I understand. Love can still be beautiful without ending how we planned. And though your memory lingers, I'll slowly let it go. I stayed even when it was over, because I loved you so. Even when it was over, I still stayed. I kept telling myself love was supposed to hurt, then maybe all the distance would somehow start to work. So I ignored the silence and every empty stare, pretending we were fine when nothing was still there. I gave away pieces just to make us survive, till I looked in the mirror and barely knew my eyes. I stayed until I couldn't recognize myself, holding on to someone else, trying to save what was already gone, while losing who I was. And every time I broke for you, I called it love instead. I stayed until I couldn't recognize myself. Now there's nothing left. You stopped reaching for me, but I still reach for you. Like effort from one heart could carry two. I became someone quieter, smaller every day, just to fit inside the space where your feelings changed. I thought goodbye would hurt me more than staying here, but slowly disappearing became my biggest fear. I stayed until I couldn't recognize myself. Forgot the way I felt, spent so long trying not to lose you, that I lost myself. And every lonely night with you still felt worse than being alone. I stayed until I couldn't recognize myself. Now I'm finally gone. Maybe love shouldn't cost everything you are. Maybe some endings happen to show you who you lost. And I don't hate you leaving or how we came undone. I just wish I left sooner, before I became no one. I stayed until I couldn't recognize myself, but I'm learning who I am outside the fear of losing what I couldn't mend. And though it still hurts leaving, I know I have to go. I stayed until I couldn't recognize myself. Now I finally know I stayed too long. Now I'm letting go. Stop loving me, stop feeling me. You stopped saying my name like it didn't matter anymore, and I pretended not to notice what I couldn't ignore. The space between us grew without a sound at all, and I stayed where you stopped loving me, waiting for a fall. I thought maybe if I stayed, something might return, but silence doesn't change, it only learns. I stayed where you stopped loving me, like I could bring it back to life, holding on to nothing in the middle of the night. And I don't even feel the hurt the way I used to do. I stayed where you stopped loving me, but I stopped too. We still share the same spaces, but not the same air, like two strangers remembering what used to be there. I stopped asking questions when I already knew that every answer left me further from you. I thought time would change it, make it easier to leave, but numbness is just silence, learning how to breathe. I stayed where you stopped loving me, while everything went cold, like feelings disappeared quietly without being told. And now I barely recognize feel the same. Maybe emptiness is what happens when love runs out of sound, when nothing left is breaking, because nothing's left around. And I don't know if I'm healing or just slowly disappearing, but I stayed where you stopped loving me and stopped feeling. I stayed where you stopped loving me, but I'm learning how to go. Even if my heart feels empty, even if it moves too slow, and though nothing really hurts now, it still doesn't feel like free. I stayed where you stopped loving me until I left me. Stop loving me. Stop feeling me. You stopped reaching for me long before you left, but I kept filling silence with what was never said. I watched it slowly disappear and called it temporary pain, like love could survive anything if I stayed the same. I knew it was ending, but I couldn't let it die. So I kept building hope out of every lie. I was still choosing you in my mind, even when you were gone, holding on to memories that I knew were wrong. And I kept replaying moments, trying to feel alive. I was still choosing you in my mind, just to survive. Every room feels colder now that you're not here, but somehow your absence still follows me everywhere. I tried to move forward, but I stayed in yesterday, like loving you was the only thing that kept me awake. I thought if I remembered enough, you'd somehow return, but some hearts only leave behind something that burns. I was still choosing you in my mind, while losing myself instead, living in conversations that only exist in my head. And I kept waiting for a future that was already gone. I was still choosing you in my mind, holding hopelessness is knowing something won't come back, but still searching through the darkness for what you lack. And I don't know how to stop thinking about your name, when loving you became the only thing that stayed. I was still choosing you in my mind, but I can't live there anymore. I can't keep loving echoes of what we were before. And even if it breaks me, I have to let it end. I was still choosing you in my mind again and again. Still choosing you in the dark. Said things would get better if I just gave it time. So I kept waiting in the dark, trying to survive the nights. Your voice still lives inside me, like it never disappeared. And somehow silence makes it louder every year. I thought words could save me from falling apart, but promises sound different inside a broken heart. I was still holding on to your words, like they could carry me through. Like every promise you whispered was something true, and I kept replaying sentences long after you were gone. I was still holding on to your words just to hold on. Feels heavier lately, like breathing takes too much. And every little memory still feels like your touch. I smile when people ask me if I'm doing alright, but they don't hear the battles that keep me up at night. I thought eventually the ache would fade away, but some sadness settles deeply and decides to stay. I was still holding on to your words while losing pieces of me, building hope from echoes that no one else could see. And every they could ease the pain. Maybe I needed something to stop me from falling down, so I turned your old promises into the only sound. And I don't know how to silence the version of you in my head, when your words became the reason haven't completely disappeared. I was still holding on to your words, but they can't save me now. I have to learn to breathe again without needing them around. And though your voice still echoes inside what's left of me, I was still holding on to your words. Now trying to leave, still look at my phone sometimes, like your name might appear. Even after all this distance, a part of me keeps you near. You moved on so easily, like we were never real, while I stayed trapped inside everything I still feel. I kept telling myself, maybe you just needed time. But hope can become a prison when love is one-sided. I was still hoping for your return, even when the lights went out. Holding on to memories, trying to drown the doubt. And every lonely night I imagined you again. I was still hoping for your return, knowing you never did. I replay our old conversations like they still belong to now, trying to hear affection in words that lost their sound. Everyone says I should move on, but they don't understand how hard it is to let go of someone you still love like that. I thought maybe one morning you'd remember what we were, but some hearts only leave behind an echo that still hurts. I was still hoping for your return while you were somewhere else, building a life without me, like I was never felt. And I kept saving space for you inside a heart worn thin. I was still hoping for your return, again and again. Maybe love isn't enough when it only lives one way. Maybe some people become memories no matter how much you stay. And I don't blame your distance or the way you let me go. I just wish my heart learned sooner what you already know. But I'm learning how to heal without waiting for a future that was never real. And though part of me still misses everything we used to be, I was still hoping for your return. Now I'm setting myself free, still hoping until now. I smile like I moved on, like your name meant nothing now. But every quiet moment still somehow brought you out. I kept your messages hidden like secrets in a drawer, pretending I was stronger than I really was before. I should've known some feelings don't disappear with time. They just learn how to hide inside your mind. I was still loving you in silence while acting like I healed, holding on to memories I never let real. saw your name, my heart went back again. I was still loving you in silence, like it never ended. I replay old conversations like they still belong to now, trying to hear a version of us that I can't live without. The world kept moving forward, but I stayed somewhere behind, still searching through the echoes you left inside my mind. I thought enough pretending would make the feeling fade, but silence only deepened everything I couldn't say. I was still loving you in silence, even after all these years, carrying unfinished feelings through invisible tears. And every little memory still knows where to begin. I was still loving you in silence, again and again. Maybe I should have told you before we slipped away. Maybe some love survives even when it cannot stay. And I don't blame the ending or the way we changed. I just wish my quiet heart didn't still say your name. I was still loving you in silence, but I'm learning how to breathe without holding on to shadows that still live inside of me. And though a part of me will always miss what's gone, I was still loving you in silence for too long. In silence, still loving you. We built our dreams from nothing, but we believed they'd last. Like every step we took forward could outrun the past. But somewhere in the distance, the future slipped away, and everything we wanted got lost along the way. I thought if I held tighter, we could still become the version of forever we were running from. You left me with a heart that won't heal, and dreams that never came true, standing in the ruins of everything I know. And every hope I buried still breathes inside of me. You left me with a heart that won't heal, and I can't set it free. I still see our reflection in places we once stood, like time forgot to tell us we didn't turn out good. I try to keep believing in something fading fast, but broken dreams don't listen to people holding past. I thought love could fix what life tore apart, But even strongest promises can break a tired heart. You left me with a heart that won't heal, even after all this time. Like every scar you gave me still feels like it's mine. And I keep chasing shadows of what we used to be. You left me with a heart that won't heal inside of me. Inside of me. Maybe we weren't broken, just not built to last. Maybe some dreams fade slower than they leave the past. And I don't blame your leaving or the way things felt. I just carry pieces of a version of ourselves. You left me with a heart that won't heal, but I'm learning how to breathe with all the broken fragments you left inside of me. And though it still hurts deeply, I know I'll find my way. You left me with a heart that won't heal, but I'll be okay. A heart that won't heal still learns to stay. Your side of the screen still glows long after you log out, and every empty conversation still leaves me full of doubt. We said distance was temporary, just a season we'd survive. But somewhere between the waiting, we stopped feeling alive. I kept counting all the miles like they could disappear, but distance slowly changes hearts when you're never near. You left me with the pieces of us scattered through my mind, little moments and promises I can't leave behind. And every late night memory still pulls me back to you. You left me with the pieces of us and nothing else to hold on to. I still know your schedule better than my own. Still check my phone at midnight, even though you're gone. The hardest part of missing you is how normal it became, learning how to love somebody through absence and pain. I thought if I stayed patient, we would find our way. But time can make two hearts feel worlds away. You left me with the pieces of us, and I keep trying to fit broken conversations into something complete again. And every little reminder feels impossible to lose. You left me with the pieces pieces of us, still missing you. Maybe some love stories are meant to stay unfinished, existing in memories more than real existence. And I don't regret the nights we stayed awake till dawn. I just wish distance didn't turn us into gone. You left me with the pieces of us, but I'm learning how to heal without waiting for a future that no longer feels real. And though a part of me will always miss your touch, you left me with the pieces of us, and I loved you that much. Pieces of us still scattered here. I still remember how you left, like nothing could go wrong. Now every little memory feels heavier than before. Your name still lives in places I can't seem to leave behind, like part of me is frozen somewhere back in time. I thought the feeling would fade if I gave it enough days, but some hearts keep holding on in invisible ways. You left me with unfinished feelings, words I never got to say, moments still replaying long after you walked away. And I keep hearing echoes of everything we were. You left me with unfinished feelings that still hurt. Sometimes I catch myself looking for you in crowds, like memory became a habit I can't live without. I know the story ended, but my heart missed the page, so I'm still reading chapters that never changed. I keep pretending closure is something time can give, but unfinished feelings still know how to live. You left me with unfinished feelings and nowhere to place them down, like loving you became a silence that still follows around. And every little reminder pulls me back again. You left me with unfinished feelings I can't explain. Maybe not every goodbye gets a perfect ending. Maybe some people leave while your heart is still mending. And I don't blame the distance or the way we changed. I just wish my feelings didn't stay the same. You left me with unfinished feelings, but I'm learning how to breathe with all the things I never said still living inside me. And though I still miss you, I know I'll find my way. You left me jacket's still hanging right where you left it last. Like part of me still believes you're coming back. I still hear your footsteps in the quiet downstairs, and sometimes I turn around like you're still there. Nobody tells you grief can feel this alive, like losing someone once 1,000 different times. You make goodbye feel like forever, like time stopped moving on, like every little memory still keeps you here when you're gone. And I keep talking to silence, like you might answer me. You make goodbye feel like forever. Now forever's all I see. The world kept turning like nothing had changed, but mine fell apart the moment you went away. I smile when people ask me if I'm doing okay, but they don't see the pieces I carry every day. I thought pain would soften as the seasons changed, but some losses settled deeply and never fade. You made goodbye feel like forever, like love had nowhere to go, like every part of my heart still refuses to let go. And I keep searching for you in places you used to be. You made goodbye feel like forever, and forever still hurts me. Maybe love doesn't leave even after goodbye. Maybe that's why your memory still lives inside. And if you can hear me somewhere beyond what I can see, I hope you know a part of you still breathes in me. You make goodbye feel like forever, but I'll carry you through time in every quiet moment, in every part of my life. And though the world keeps moving, a part of me still stays. You make goodbye feel like forever, and I'll love you always. Forever. Always. Always. Something that ended still lives in me. I still stay awake too late, listening to old voicemails, like somehow hearing your voice could stop my world from falling. The nights feel longer now since you stopped calling me, and silence became louder than anything we used to be. I thought love like ours would never disappear, but forever ended quietly right here. You made me believe in something that ended, like forever could survive. breaks here for silently, where nobody can see. You made me believe in something that ended and left the ending with me. I replay our last conversation, trying to hear where it changed. But heartbreak hides itself slowly inside familiar things. You moved on like the feeling was easy to outgrow, while I'm still holding memories I don't know how to let go. I keep pretending healing is somewhere close to me, but grief still lives in places you used to be. You made me believe in something that ended, and I built my life around it. Now every little promise feels impossible without you in it, and every lonely evening still circles back to us. You made me believe in something that ended, and I believed too much. Maybe I love the future more than what we became. Maybe I kept chasing echoes after you walked away, and I don't blame the ending for hurting like it does. I just wish forever didn't mean so much to us. You made me believe in something that ended, but I'm learning how to stand without waiting for the version of us we never had. And though the nights still break me, I know someday I'll heal. You made me believe in something that ended, but the love was real. Something that ended still lives in me. You stopped asking how I was long before goodbye. Started looking through me instead of in my eyes. I felt the distance growing inside the smallest things, like silence took the place of what love used to mean. I stayed hoping something would bring us back again, but I was already lonely before the ending. You made me feel forgotten before I left, like I was fading while standing there, like my heart became invisible and you no longer cared. And every time I reached for you, I only touched regret. You made me feel forgotten before I left. I just didn't know it yet. We still sat beside each other, but it felt worlds away, like we were only acting out the words we used to say. I kept trying to save us while you quietly let go, and I lost myself in places you stopped wanting to know. I thought love could survive if one heart stayed enough, But even forever weekends without both of us. You made me feel forgotten before I left, like I was already gone, holding on to pieces of something moving on. And I kept pretending we were still the same. You made me feel forgotten before I left, and nothing healed the pain. Maybe the hardest part wasn't watching you leave, it was realizing slowly you stopped seeing me. And I don't hate your silence or the way it changed, I just wish I noticed sooner I was fading away. You made me feel forgotten before I left, but I remember who I am outside the empty spaces where you stopped holding my hand. And though it still hurts leaving, I know I needed to. You made me feel forgotten before I left. Now I'm choosing me too. Forgotten before goodbye. We used to talk like forever was written in our hands, like nothing in this world could change the way we'd stand. But somewhere in the silence you started fading out, while I was still believing there was no reason to doubt. I gave you every part of me without holding anything back, but love can still disappear even when it feels attached. You took my love and changed the ending, turned forever into goodbye, left me holding on to pieces while you walked out of my life. And every promise that we made still echoes in my head. You took my love and changed the ending. Now all that's left is regret. I still remember your laughter filling every empty room. Now silence feels louder since losing you. I try to keep us breathing even when you stopped, but one heart alone could never be enough. I thought love was stronger than the distance we became, but slowly we turned into strangers with the same names. You took my love and changed the ending, like we were never meant to last. And now I'm standing in the ruins of everything we had, and every little memory still finds a way to stay. You took my love and changed the ending, then walked away. change the ending, but I'll survive somehow, even if part of me still misses you now. And though forever disappeared, I'll carry what remains. You took my love and changed the ending, but not the love I gave. Change the ending, oh, but not my heart. I thought we had forever, so I treated time carelessly. Never noticed how my silence was pulling you away from me. I kept saying we'll be okay, like love could fix itself, while you were slowly breaking and I blamed everything else. Now every little moment feels heavier somehow, because hindsight always speaks louder when you're gone now. You turned everything into a memory, every promise, every touch. Now all I have are echoes of the ones I loved too much. And I keep replaying moments, trying to find what I missed. You turned everything into a memory. Now memory is all that exists. I see your face in places we used to call our own. Now even familiar streets feel colder walking home. I should have held you closer when your heart began to drift, but I kept waiting for tomorrow, like we still had it left. Thought love would stay alive if feelings stayed sincere, but even strong hearts fade when they stop feeling hurt. You turned everything into a memory, and I helped it disappear by loving you too quietly, while drowning in my fears. And every unfinished conversation still circles in my mind. You turned everything into a memory and left me behind. Maybe I ruined us slowly without meaning to. Maybe I didn't understand how much I was losing you. And I don't blame your leaving if staying hurt too long. I just wish I learned sooner how to love you right, not wrong. You turned everything into a memory, but I'll carry what remains, even if remembering you still aches inside my veins. And though I can't rewrite the ending we became, you turned everything to a memory, and I still say your name. A memory that still feels alive. used to talk about forever, like we had endless time, running through the summer nights without a single goodbye. Everything felt golden and like nothing could erase the way we laughed so easily before life changed. I didn't know some moments only happen once, or that growing older means losing what you love. You turned my heart into an empty place, somewhere memories still stay, where every little piece of us feels farther every day. And I keep wishing I could go back to who we used to be. You turned my heart into an empty place, still haunting me. Now the streets look different than they did back then, like time erased the colors from everything we knew. I see us in reflections of places we once stood, trying to hold on to feelings that time misunderstood. I thought memories would fade as the years moved on, but some parts of the past never really leave you alone. You turned my heart into an empty place, filled with echoes of your name. And every year that passes still somehow feels the same. And I keep carrying versions of us I couldn't say. You turned my heart into an empty place that never changed. Maybe youth is just a moment you don't know you're in, until you're standing years later trying to feel it again. And I don't blame the distance or the way we grew apart. I just miss the person I was before the empty part. You turned my heart into an empty place, but I'm learning how to fill the silence with new memories, even if it hurts still. And though I can't go backward, I'll carry what remains. You turned my heart into an empty place, but I survived the change. An empty place where you still